I created 2 more lessons today. One of them is about geometric shapes, which I wanted to teach you last time. You know some from math, you don't know some, so you'll just watch me to some of the work there. But let's start with the pen. I'll open lesson 28. So if you want to already start your own projects and work while I work, so we work together, that's okay. Let me see if I asked it to erase it all. I think I do. So see, I already mentioned when flag clicked, erase all, because we wanted to start with a clear board. And then I'll just give a demonstration before I explain everything about it. So I found a nice diamond. How do you call it? Crystal. So as you can see, I actually managed to make a perfect circle, but the color changes, and then the color of the pen changes, and then the size of the pen changes, and it keeps incrementing while it goes in circle on the same shape. I will not ask you to do the same thing. I will ask you, I'll show you different things that we can do, like splitting this code in different portions like we normally work. So the idea of creating a perfect circle, this is sometimes complicated, so we are not going to focus on it, but I'll show you the functions that we use, splitting the code for now. So when this sprite is clicked, I chose a Z event. We go to the pen category of tools. We set pen color to. So you choose from this category, set pen color. A couple of you already did. Now here you can see that you can modify, you know, color saturation, brightness the way you want. So you start with the color you want. You choose whichever combination here is the color you want. But this is before I put the pen down. I want to have the settings done before I put the pen down. And then I start with a pen size 1, which is like a thin, slim pen size. And then I put the pen down. Now, what happens, I'm not going to do the repeating of the steps right away. I'm going to start it bit by bit. If I want to change the color, if I just want to change the color, I use a function that we have on the left here, change pen color by, and then we increment. If you put 10, you will not see a big difference in color because it's just a slight change. So I started with 30 to see like, you know, like a bigger change in color. And then I inserted weight, as you can see here, I inserted a weight tag from control because I wanted the changes to be obvious. If we don't wait, the colors will change right away and you will not be able to notice exactly what happens. So here, if I want to change instead of 0.25 and I put only 0.10 seconds, it's going to happen much faster. So you'll, okay, let's erase. Snap it back in. I have a different shape now. It's changing a little bit faster. All right, now you can see it's not only changing color. Now let's try without any waiting time, just to give you an example. Here, break it completely. Without any waiting time. Let's see what happens without any waiting time. Let's start fresh. It's going to keep moving. Now you see that we can still see the change in color. That's because I also included a motion tab, motion command, move 30 steps. And I did it in purpose so you can see the change in color and you can see the change in shape. So if I don't put any waiting time here just to make it faster, so what do I have in my loop here? I repeat 100 times. What do I repeat? I move 30 steps. I change pen color by 30. If you choose the default 10, as I told you, it's going to take a long time to see a change in color. and then I turn 15 degrees, that will be your option, what you turn and how you turn it to create any shape you want. And then change pen size by 0.3 I chose. You can start with 1 if you choose 1 instead, as you have in the original control. It will start thickening very fast and it will fill your screen. So I found that 0.3 was a good measure, but you can choose your own measure. And then if on edge bounce, because you don't want to lose a sprite. So again, we have a repeat loop of 100 times, of as many times you want, of several steps. Move 30 steps, change pen color, make a turn, change pen size, and if on edge bounce. You can make any combination you want of motion blocks, moving, turning, and then in between you can insert changing the color or changing the pen size. You can do that by experimenting. So we always experiment. So if I clear it again, I'm going to play just one more time. And now I'm going back to the perfect circle because I snapped back in. So if we move 30 steps and we turn 15 degrees, we are going to create this circle. It doesn't have to be a circle, it can be anything. If I remove the moving block, and I'm going to do this. Okay, so now what do I do? What do I repeat 100 times? Only change pen color, turn 15 degrees, and change pen size. What's going to happen now? It will just pin in place, and you won't see anything. If I don't move, it's not going to draw anything. So the movement is necessary because that's the only way to actually draw something.
Okay, excuse me, Adina. Sorry to interrupt. Ms. Plick, did you have a question? Good morning, Ms. Plick. Did you have a question? You were on mute, so we couldn't hear you. No? You're still on mute.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Did you have a question or
no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm learning. Thank you.
Okay, no.
Anybody has any question now about how to use a pen and the functions we have available? Because we use almost all the functions we have available here.
Do you see my glasses? Come over here.
So we first erase. We start by clearing the board. When flag is clicked, erase all. And then we start from the clear board. So we used setting the pen color to a certain color, setting the pen size to a certain size. We put the pen down, and then we start creating random patterns. So if you like to create a project now with your own combination of a motion, movement, so move as many steps as you want, a turn, which you can even combine several turns, like if you want to create a square again, you turn 90 degrees and then you repeat 4 times and you create a square, and then the square will keep on changing color or thickening or anything like that. And change pen size. Try in different combinations and in different order and see what you can get. And then we can look at your projects in
how do we get the pen? Because whenever we're trying.
All right, so you see on the left side, you see the categories of blocks. I call them controls, but they're actually categories of blocks. Under it, Kartik showed it to us in the second studio. You click on this plus, and from here you can add new facilities, new functions that Scratch did not have originally. So here's a pen, and then you'll see it appeared under my blocks.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
And now anytime you click on a pen, that category will display.
So they can use this time right now to create the project?
Yes. With any combination they want, I can assure you that not all the combinations will work. Like for example, if you forget if on edge bounce, it will go away and you won't find any way to bring it back. Or if some turns don't match, the turns or the moving steps numbers, you'll see. Just turn and change color or change size or change bows and see what you get. Your own creativity here. We all experiment. If anybody would like to share the screen, I would, I'll be happy to see your screen, or let me know when you share the project so we go in students projects again and look at whatever you add here. If you forgot how to add projects to student projects, let me know and I'll go in your projects category and I'll choose something from there.
Mm-hmm. Arina, they may need the coding screen to follow and then make changes.
Sure, I'll go back there. So there are not so many options. We start with erase all, so we start on a clear board. And then we need to add a new event or several. So if you want to try different things, you can have the same sprite or two sprites and different events. Click on the sprite or click on the space bar if you wanted to do different things. We are not talking about changing costumes now. I know this crystal has two costumes. There are like 2 jewels here, but it's no point because we need to focus on drawing now. We are here if anything is not clear. We are here to answer any question. Okay, here I finally found a better light.
Looks like Zamora is done with her project and she wants to share.
All right. I'm going to go in the students. Right, that looks nice. I didn't even include a backdrop this time because we are creating so much color. I thought it wasn't necessary to have a backdrop. Double click green flag. Okay, click on both. Awesome. And see, you probably put a higher incremental number there because it fills the screen. So let's see how.
I was just changing it.
Sorry?
I was changing it right now.
No, that's fine. That's good. It's one way to do it. So change pen size by 1. I only decreased it because I wanted to give you time to see the changes, because otherwise, in 1 minute, we have the screen full. But the default is 1. So normally you start with the default. You'll at least try to see what the default does before you change anything. So I like this. You pick random between 1 and 360. So this will be literally like a random dot, random ball going around the screen and randomly choosing how to turn. That's really awesome. Okay, set size. All right, you start in a certain position. Very interesting. And you didn't, I'm going to ask you what is your intention. So you didn't add pen up. So you just let it go forever till it fills the screen till I stopped it. So that means if I continue, it will still go. It will keep going. It never ends. It never stops and keeps growing, right? But if we wanted to actually stop at some point, instead of forever, we put repeat a certain number of times. And at the end, we have pen up where we want it to stop. But that's again, that's another option. Okay, let's go back to the project page. So I'll give it a hug here. Let's see, anybody else? I mean, Kartik, you already published 2 projects on this topic. Is Lucy missing? I think I just lost her. Let's see if the project is ready here. If anybody else would like to share something, let me know, because I'm looking for them, but there are already so many projects. They're kind of hard to find. And ideally, you would title it. See, I see projects here, project Untitled. It is easier if you title it by the number of the lesson today, like lesson 28, because then I would identify it and I will know what to add to the project. Okay, I see one that I definitely didn't add, but it might be from an older student. This I definitely know that this one, Swesha. I'm sorry, I missed this one. That's it. Awesome.
I drew a square.
Nice.
Click me.
Awesome. Right, so you
Drew a hexagon. Press the number 8.
So you did it. You created the octagon. That was a challenge last time. We'll talk about it as soon as we finish with the pen. We go in the geometric shapes. Please let me know if anybody doesn't see a project you did and it's not here in our common students projects tab. Please let me know, because I don't know how to find them if you don't tell me there are so many. Okay, lesson 28. Let's see. This is my project.
I added mine.
You added yours? Let's see. See, it needs refreshing, so it takes a couple of minutes before your projects are visible. Green flag to erase a board. Click the crystal to make crystal move. All right, and then you made it stop. So you covered all the functions. Let's look inside a little bit. You chose the color to start with. Good, you moved 50 steps, so you changed that. Nice. All right. Then we have came in an unentitled. And it's the title. And no instructions, but I'll try to be intuitive. I'm going to click on the, okay, and you're making the circle with an arrow. That's even more interesting. Right, so you tried several things here. See, I need you to write instructions because, see, I discovered now that you can do actually several things. Let's see what happens if I hit the green flag again and now space key. So you started already from a different size. Good. You can use these 10 functions in combination with anything we learned so far. And let's see what code can. Yeah. Oh. Nice. So you chose more like a straight line
Yes.
pattern. We use more straight line when we go in shapes again.
Okay.
All right, I think this is the one. It's not the one from last time, so it's a new one. Let's take a look at it. But maybe you title it and you also write instructions. Okay. Following the cursors. This is the third thing we'll do today after we go through the geometry shapes. I'm going to say something. I noticed this in your previous project that you did. I found it this morning. It was already done this morning. I'm quite sure you're changing the color, but because the changing color is very slow, you don't see it. Let's look inside. Right. So
If you reload, I've just been adding some changes to make it change color.
Yes, you can.
Yes, I just made it change color.
Okay, so let me reload it. What I was saying, your previous project in which you use a pen, you did add change color, but the change was put, change it by 10 as it was by default. And the change couldn't be seen very well. Okay, basically. Change.
Yeah, you have to hold down space and then I got it to like go rainbow sort of. But
Okay.
in my previous,
Right, so what happens is that I press the key and changes the color and then it keeps that color till I press again.
I think you're just to hold down space, but I'm not sure like.
No, it works. It's a good idea. So it's not going to keep changing. You actually have control over it. It goes the color you want, and then you take a break and you press a space key, and you go to a new color. And you only change to the next color when you decide to press the space key again. So this is a new thing. You have control over your color. See, did everybody understand? Let's clear.
Yeah.
Oh, so I put so I just changed the changing color to like when space key press forever change color by 10.
Okay, so let's see. Let me refresh again. I have a different version of the project here. Let's refresh again to change it again. Try to keep your code in the visible space here. This is what I can see. You can see my screen, right? You can see my screen. Well, this is what I see. So the changing color only appears when you press space key, but it is not in connection with a movement. So if I only press the key, the space key, nothing happens. So obviously I need to click the green flag first to start moving it. I need to follow my cursor. And then if I use my other hand and I go press the key, the space key, it changes the color. And then I keep moving and then I go again to the space key, it changes the color. And then I keep moving. So do you understand? I mean, you did a very interesting thing. It's not going to keep changing the color. It only changes the color one at a time when you decide to press the space key. So you have control about your color change. It's a different thing, so it's interesting. Of course, you could embed them in another loop that would make them go together. You could do that. So now let's clear. You could find a way to embed them, but only if you wanted to. You don't have to. This is another way of doing things. So you have a separate block in which you control when you want to change the color. So that's perfectly fine. And of course, instructions. I did not add instructions to mine yet as well, and the title. And let's see if we. And I think this is all. Is anybody else?
Zamora wanted to share hers. She said she
Sure.
added it.
I don't know which one it is. Can you tell me which one it is?
Zamora, that's the username.
It,
Zamora, did you add it to the students' projects? We don't see it here.
so you need to share first and then edit the student's project, or tell me the name and I will go and look for it.
Mm-hmm. Zamora. She.
Don't see the name of the author here in my bar. As you can see, I can only see the name of the project. So if she doesn't tell me the name of the project, I don't know.
It says like Untitled Zamora 11 Patterson. That's the username.
It is an untitled project.
Yes.
This one. Already this one. This is Michaela's. Let's try this one. Here it is. But please title it. I must say, please title it. Now, I don't have instructions. I have to be intuitive. For now, I'm just clicking on the balloon. Let's look inside. Somebody is drawing on my screen. Who's doing that? Are you Kartik? I can imagine that you are the originator of things here. So when the flag is clicked, erase all. Start fresh. When this sprite is clicked, we set the color, we change the size, and we put the pen down, then we repeat 100 times, so move 3,000 steps, and it goes a long way. And as you can see, it goes from edge to edge, because we have it on edge bound, so it will just go from edge to edge. Change pen color by 10, and change pen size by 0. All right. Now you see, if you started with pen size 1, it already starts at large level. Keep going. Would anybody like to do anything more about students' projects now? About your projects now?
About to share mine.
All right.
Yes, Nina, go ahead.
Can you see my screen? I lost my screen for a moment.
Yes.
Okay.
We can see you.
So which one is the one that you just shared?
Nina, did you share already?
Yeah, just 1 second. I'm trying to work on it.
Okay. If you want more time, you can finish it for next time.
I shared a project.
You share the
I'm
project?
just writing the instructions, that's all.
All right, all right. Kartik, did you share anyone?
Yeah.
What's the name of it?
Oh, you need to reload the page. It's called Apple Duplicator.
I don't have instructions, so okay, I click on an apple and it will.
It goes by itself.
Okay, so what does it do? Right, but it is a different thing. It's not something we did today. It's interesting, but let's focus on what to do today. Okay? We need to learn everything step by step. Otherwise, we get lost in just experimenting. Nina, did you share it? Are you still working?
All right, it's ready now. I shared it. It's called Lesson 28.
Did you include it in students' project?
Yes.
I cannot see it. Can you see it on my screen here?
Not yet.
Maybe she shared it, but she didn't share.
Yes, I mean you shared it, but probably you didn't include it in students' project.
Oh, how do I?
Add to studio. You have a button there that says add to studio and you choose students' project.
So how do I get, like, put it in students' projects?
From the project page, now all my projects are. Let me see if I can find it for you. All my projects are already in studios. You said fold it.
Students' projects. Where is it?
Can't open something here that we don't have.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Right here. It's right here. We probably added it at the same time. Press correct on your mouse to erase clicking. Now something to the pen. Did you change size or shape or color?
No. How do you do that?
Okay. Let's stop. In this forever loop you found, right? You point towards the mouse pointer, pen down, move 10 steps. So let's choose to move it to do this really fast. We go in category, and we have this function. You started with this color. With this function, change pen color by 10. Let's say we change it after you move 10 steps. So you put the pen down, move 10 steps, change the color, and then you repeat, right? Let's see what happens now. I would say not 10, but 20, so you change this, you see the change faster. Let's see now, that's the first function, see? Like every 10 steps, you change the color by a factor of 20. Do you see the change? And now you want to change the shape too.
Okay.
Let's see here. We have changed pen size by 1. I would say let's make it a little bit smaller so it doesn't go fast. 0.25. And let's see what happens now. Okay. It changes color and it also grows in size. And then you can play around and experiment with these measurements. Like if you want the change to be very slow, the change in size, we choose like 0.10, so it doesn't grow so fast. Well, it takes it from where we are now. Right, let me show you how we solved it. We saw this before. So now when we start again, it will take it from this size and it will grow bigger and bigger. Let's experiment. Let's show you again. I'll show you how we fix it. See? It doesn't start from the original size of the pen. It just keeps growing from where you left it. Now, just the way we have here, the flag is clicked, erase all. We are going to set the pen size again. So we say erase all and reset the pen size to where we started. Let's say we start with a pen size 1. So now every time we start the game, when we click on the green flag, it will go back to size 1. It will not keep growing from where you left it. And you can do the same with the shape, you know, I mean, with a color. If you want your pen to go back to the original color, you can also reset the size and the shape and the color in the block where you erase all to start with. So now we start again. We need to start again from pen size 1. Is it clear?
On my screen, it's not getting bigger.
Well, try to refresh. Well, it's possible, you know, you need to make the modification yourself. I'm not sure if it's going to save the modifications now. This is something I showed you, but you might need to refresh to make the modifications yourself. No, it's here. You should see now. It takes a minute to refresh. It's not totally interactive. It should work now. I can see all the modifications saved. Go for the page now. Yes. Right, there is no change in pen size. Indeed, we did not save it. Mamma mia. Can you see now? There was a minus there. I don't know how to. Can you see now the change in size?
I can see it on your screen, but
We'll try to refresh.
here, 1 second. 1 second. Yeah, I still can't see it.
That's interesting.
Getting bigger.
But in the code, do you see the part of the code that I inserted for changing the size?
Huh?
When you enter the code in your own project, can you see the part of the code that I inserted for changing the size?
When flag clicked, erase all, the pen size to 1. When the sprite clicked, the pen type, my color forever, point towards mount pointer, pen down, move 10 steps, change pen color by 20, change pen size by minus 0.25.
Yes, I don't know why it's 0. You know, I'm going to, because I changed it. It just got blocked like this. I change it again. I don't know why it's 0. We change pen size. We don't want 0. We want positive numbers. So 0 to 5. Now refresh it and try now. It got stuck with a minus there. I don't know why.
Huh?
It was stuck with a minus there in the code. Minus 0.25. Now it's fine, so it should work. Can you see it, Francisco?
Oh yeah, now it's working.
It's working. Okay, it was stuck with a minus 0.25. I don't know why. Like in everything, sometimes you have to just restart your computer. You know. Swesha, we have a new one here. Is this a new project? It looks like it's new. I will look at this and we'll move on to the next project.
I shared a new project that's about the lesson.
Okay. That's an interesting shade. Awesome. All right. And is it going to go forever, or you chose to make it work a number of times and then it's going to leave the pen? Here, this is like in my original code. Do you see this set pen size 1? Now, if we start again, this is what I was talking about. When we start again now, it will start from the original size of the pen, which was 1. So it doesn't continue from the size where we left it. And that is because we have this set pen size 1 before having the repeating loop and pen up. So then every time you start the project, it will go through these steps: set pen color, set pen size to 1, and then pen down. Every time you start, it will reset the pen size to 1. So it starts from 1 from the beginning. It doesn't start from where you left it. And now practice a new project. You can title it. Get forward pointer up arrow to change size. No, so I need 2 hands here and down arrow. Okay, so pen up increases the size and pen down decreases the size. That's interesting. So let's look inside a little bit so I can show to everybody where the difference is. Change the pen size by -10, it will decrease it by 10. And then change that by 5, it will increase it by 5. So that's an interesting thing to do. I think these are all the projects. I don't see anything new now. Are we ready to move on? Is any of you having any more questions now?
No,
Okay.
ready to move.
I know.
Was this interesting?
Mute.
Okay. The next thing I wanted to show you, so we go back to turning, spinning, and following directions. I made a new studio here, a new lesson here about making shapes. Now we saw one of your colleagues already created one. We looked at it a bit earlier. Show you again. I'm talking about Swesha. So she created the square, the hexagon, and the octagon. Now we have to do the lesson so we understand the difference. Again, I choose to not have any backdrop so we can see the shapes better. And we just click one by one to see what happens. Now, if I click the arrow, it will do the classic square like we did before. Just to remember what we did here, what did we do? We moved like 100 steps or 50 steps. We turned 90 degrees, and then we repeated that 100 times. And I have the whiteboard here to show you again how we did it. So this was the 90 degrees square. And how do we decide how many degrees we turn? The scratch moves and it wants to keep moving. We say stop and turn. This is the number of degrees it will turn. We don't decide it by the angle of the shape, but by the remaining part to 180 degrees, which is a flat line. And it turns 90 degrees and it repeats 4 times. Now the next one will be the ball. The ball will create a rectangle. Now this rectangle can be of different sizes, right? You know what a rectangle is. It looks like a square, but it does not have the 2 sides equal. We can easily modify here. If we click on the ball, just the same as in the square case, we move 100 steps, we turn 90 degrees. I only include this waiting time so it doesn't go too fast and you have time to see everything. And then instead of moving 100 steps again, we move only 50. Or now I can modify and say 70. This will completely change the proportions of my rectangle. And here, instead of 100, I will say 120. This will change again the proportions of the rectangle. It is very easy to control the proportions of the rectangle because we just have to decide how many steps we move in the length and in the width. However, the difference from making the square is that in the case of the square, we can say repeat 4 times because the size will be just the same. While in the case of the rectangle, we take them 2 by 2. So we first create the length, turn 90 degrees, the width, turn 90 degrees, and these 2 together, we include them in a loop and we say repeat 2 times. It can be done in a different way. Once you learn more about loops, it can also be done in a shorter way, like Kartik keeps on reminding us, but we have to get to learn more about the loops first. So did you understand what I did here? I first do the length and the width, and then I repeated it twice to create a full rectangle. And the lines meet when they need to be. Now, is anybody having any questions so far? No. We go to the crystal. Let's erase everything. And the crystal will create a hexagon. But at the end of the hexagon, I also included a square that will fit perfectly in place. Now, if we look at the hexagon like we learned last time, it's easy to do. We repeat 6 times because it has 6 equal sides and 6 equal angles, right? We move 100 steps and then we turn 60 degrees. How we determine this? We look at the whiteboard from last time. The angle of the hexagon is 120 degrees. You don't need to know all of this, but we can easily find them. We can look up all these polygons and find out what the angle of the polygon. For hexagon, it is 120 degrees. So if the sprite goes 100 steps and then it stops, and it would want to continue. And we want it to turn How many degrees? 60, because a flat line is 180 degrees. The hexagon angle is 120, and the remaining part that we turn is 60 degrees. So this is how we find out how much we turn. Now, to create an octagon, before we move on to the square, to the triangles, let me pick another ball to create an octagon. Let's see, let me get a baseball or a basketball. And erase everything. Let's go to the hexagon. Why not just take the code and then make the modifications? From here, first of all, I'm going to remove the triangle. I only keep this. The octagon has 8 sides. So what do I do now? Let me stop sharing. Share the right. Draw. The octagon has 8 equal sides. Excuse my hand drawing. I'm not going to use any tools. 8 equal sides and 8 equal angles, right? So all we need to know now is the size of the angle and then determine how much the sprite will turn. Now, if you look it up, you'll just find out that the octagon has all angles equal to 135 degrees. There is a rule how to determine it, but that is math. So we are not going deeper into how to determine the angles of the polygons. You just find out that the octagon has 8 equal angles and all of them are 135 degrees. Now, the sprite goes a certain number of steps and then it wants to keep going. So we need to find out how many angles we need to turn, right? Now the total here is 180. So we need to turn the difference, the remaining part, which will be how much? 45 degrees. And how many times will we repeat? At 8 times, because the octagon has 8 equal sizes. I'm going to share, I'm going back to and let's make it. So we repeat 8 times. We go 100 steps. Maybe we want only 50 to take less space. And we turn 45 degrees. And we wait 1 second just to make it slower. So that will be our basketball. That is the octagon. What I try to do further is to work into triangles because one of the first geometric shapes you work with in school is a triangle, and then you learn different types of triangles. And I believe I used, let's go back to the crystal and see what I did here again. I created initially a hexagon, and inside I created my first triangle, which is a perfect equilateral triangle. So we initially make a perfect equilateral triangle, and in this case, it uses the same size, the same length as a hexagon, and then we'll have to figure out the angle. That's why I created it right here, because it will show you something very interesting. Again, we choose a new share, and we go to the whiteboard. And let's erase all. Can I erase all? Clear. Okay. So if I want to create, what am I doing here? I'm doing some work. So if I want to create an equilateral square, what do you know about it? That all the sides have equal sides. And then we also know all the angles are equal, right? Another thing we know is that the sum of the angles inside a triangle, however we draw the triangle, however we design the triangle, the sum of the angles, the three angles inside the triangle, will be 180 degrees. So in this case, if we divide by 3, because we have 3 angles, we are going to get 60 degrees. All these angles have 60 degrees. Now, if we want the sprite to move, let's say we start from here. The sprite will go this way, 100 steps, and it will want to keep going. But then we say, no, turn, stop here and turn. Now, by default, the turn in Scratch will be clockwise. So it goes like this, unless you choose it a different way. So if from the very beginning you want to turn the other way, you choose it from the motion tab. Now, we assume that we are going to go, clockwise. So I need to find out how much we turn. Now, again, the total here, flat line will be again 180 degrees, always, it's a flat line. So the difference here will be 120 degrees. This is interesting. That's what helped me place it right inside of the hexagon. Because in case of the hexagon, the angle was 120 degrees, so we turned 60, while in this case, so I'm showing you here. I get lost in so many shares. So in the case of the hexagon, the angle was 100 degrees and we had to turn 60, right? While in case of the equilateral square triangle is exactly the other way around. The angle is 60 degrees, so we have to turn 120. Right? Is it clear? Is it clear? Good. So actually, I think it's a good idea, and I'm going to save this one. Let's just create the hexagon here, which is it's not a perfect hexagon, but anyway, I'm trying. So this will be 120 degrees right here. My sprite created this hexagon, and then I told it once it got here to turn another 60 degrees, and it went inside. So it turned this. Instead of going on to create the next hexagon on top of it, it turned 60 degrees, which would be exactly half of the original, and it created a triangle inside. You understand what I mean? Okay.
Yes, it is.
I'm really hoping this is not boring, because it is a very, very valuable use of.
Do you want them to try this for homework for next class?
Try an equilateral triangle if we have time now. Do you have a bit more time?
We are almost towards the close of the class by 11:15. But then, like, if you can ask them if they need to do this for homework, then they can definitely try it.
Okay.
You tell them what to do for next class.
The easier thing was to create triangle, equilateral triangle, just like I did here. And then the challenge, if you want to challenge it a little bit, let me again remind myself what I did with magic wand. Okay. Okay, the magic wand, if you go on the magic wand on my code here, it creates an equilateral triangle which is separate from the hexagon. And then when I clicked the arrow up, it did something else. It kept going, and I'll show you why. If you want to create a different type of triangle, you really need to design it well and know precisely the measurements, because if you just take random things, so that's what I did here. I took random things. I would say repeat 3 times. In a triangle, you need to repeat 3 times because it has 3 sides. Right. Now, if it is an equilateral triangle, you repeat 3 times 3 equal sides, right? Move 100 steps, turn 120 degrees, repeat. And it will create that triangle. Now, if you take random measurements and you try to repeat 3 times, the lines will not really meet where you expect them to meet. So here I said, okay, turn 90 degrees, make 50 steps, turn 135 degrees. Is this going to create a triangle? Okay, that's supposed to go arrow up. Is it going to create a triangle? No, the lines are not going to meet because we did not calculate precise measurements for creating that. So the challenge here will be, and I'm going to share the whiteboard again. It took a bit longer today than I expected. Let's clear all. You have this code. You can look in my code to create the equilateral triangle that again has 60 degrees angles in all sides. And then I'll give you a challenge. Instead of an equilateral triangle, create an isosceles. I'm not sure if my pronunciation is correct. My kid keeps on correcting me while I'm not native English speaker. Isosceles means it's got 2 sides the same, but not all the 3 of them. And 2 angles, again, are the same, but not all the 3 of them. Well, this will be a bit complex. Now, to give you a tip, but I will let you write the code. The easiest way to do it, if you make this angle right angle. So let's place it in a different position. I make a triangle that has one angle 90 degrees. So you would turn 90 degrees there, obviously, right? But then it also has 2 equal sides. So that makes it isosceles. But it is. And that also means that these angles will be equal. Now, can anybody tell me the size of it? Again, we know that the total numbers of degrees, the sum of the 3 angles inside the triangle is always 180 degrees. Now we know this one is 90.
45.
Right. So the remaining, if we subtract 90, the remaining size of 2 angles put together will be 90. So if we split it in 2, that would be 45. You don't have to do this. It's a challenge if you'd like to try. So it doesn't matter so much how many steps you put here. It matters to turn the right angle. So we have a 90 degrees angle and then 245 degrees angle. Now I'm going to make you a tip. You cannot say repeat 3 times because you don't repeat the same thing. So this will be a no repeat. You'll just make this number of steps, like you can start here. You make 100 steps, but remember these 2 sizes are equal. Start with these 2 sizes which are equal. Right. So you move 100 steps and then you turn 90. And then how much will you turn next? You make another 100 steps and then you turn how much?
45.
No, because we know the sprite wants to keep going. Now the total of the flat line here will be 180 degrees. We know that again.
135.
135. So that's the only tricky part. So ideally you start wherever you start on the screen. It can go in random positions. It can be with a square here angle. It can be anywhere. You go 100 steps or 50 steps, turn 90 degrees. Then you make sure you go again the same number of steps. And knowing that this angle is 45 and the sprite wants to keep going, you say, no, you don't go. You turn 135 degrees here. So that would make an isosceles triangle that has 90 degrees, a right angle as a middle angle. And others could be, but maybe next time. This is not a challenge for you, we'll do it next time. Another one could be like, this is a 30, and the rest would be like what? 180 minus 30, 150 by 75. So that would be 75. I hope I calculated correctly because I'm in a rush. Another one would be that would look like the hexagon angle. That would be interesting, right? So the hexagon, which has 120 angle. And again, these are equal sides. So this will be 30. No, 180, 20, 60, 30, yes. So these are, you know, challenges you may want to try. This one is easiest to do with a right angle, but not necessarily. You just have to, the only tricky part is to figure out how many degrees you turn, knowing that the sprite wants to keep going in a straight line. So this is a challenge.
Okay, sounds good. So the easiest step one challenge is for them to make an equilateral triangle. All the sides are same, all the angles are same.
And the code is in my project. So you'll find the code for this with a magic wand. I think it's there.
Okay, so the name of the project is Magic Wand?
No. The name of the project is lesson 27. It's lesson 27 in the same studio, which is turning, spinning, you know, studio 2, turn, spin, take directions. And I believe the magic wand is the one that,
okay.
Yes, it's a magic wand making the triangle. I'll write the instructions. I didn't write the instructions yet, but I write it.
So step 2, you make isosceles triangle. It's meaning any two sides of the triangle is the same. And if you want to challenge yourself more, then you can make it the isosceles triangle with different options for the angles. Okay, sounds good. So now we have a little bit more time, so we'll make this interactive. So what did you feel about today's class? Do you have any questions? This is your time to ask questions.
Where can we find the covered up lessons?
Okay.
Where can we find lessons that are covered up?
I'll show you. Let's start from the, look, this is the link you have. This is the class link you have, okay? The link that Coach Kesh sent to you. In this class studio here, if you click on view all, is the easiest. You view all 15 studios. We covered ways to move. So we finished all the studios in ways to move. And now we are still working in studio 2, turn, spin, follow directions. And these are the two studios we worked on today. Lesson 7 is about making shapes, and lesson 27. And lesson 28 was about the pen, changing color and changing size. I just made them this morning at 6 o'clock, so I'll sit down and write the instructions. These are the two new studios. So in studio 2, turn, spin, follow directions. Next time, we are going to still stay in this studio, turn, spin, follow directions, to look at your homework and figure out those triangles. And then we have one more lesson, lesson 7. This one includes following the mouse cursor, but a few more tricks related to that. So we'll learn a few more tricks. And if we have time, I wanted to suggest it today, but it took longer. I would invite George, my son, probably together with Kartik, to teach about making your own sprite. There are several funny ways to make your own sprites instead of choosing from the library to just create your own drawing and then save it as a sprite and use it as a sprite. And you can make costumes the way you want them. Like one would be a dog with a tail, one without a tail, or a barking dog and non-barking dog, you know. So that's more fun. If you have any suggestions, you know, I would try to make the class to be a bit more attractive in a more amusing way. My kid is telling me that I'm too serious. So next time, if you can make it a little bit more, you know, more interactive. So let's see, if you come up with suggestions, I think the lessons are attractive and they're entertaining, and maybe we find a way to make it a bit more amusing.
I should.
Okay, I think someone had a question. Was that Karthik?
No, it's not a question, but I just found something cool about the pen tool that I could do, and I shared it.
In the class, in the
Yeah, on the students project.
Okay, so did you understand where you find the studios again? You go on the initial class link and then view all studios, and you find turn spin for studio 2, and students projects is the last one I created here.
Okay.
Okay, this is obviously forever movement. Let's see what you did. So you created a triangle, and that's how it looks like. It doesn't necessarily have to be, it can be an optical illusion, but it looks like a triangle that keeps multiplying. Let's look inside. Erase up and down, start, and then one space key. Okay, repeat 40 times, move 300 steps, turn. Right, so it's totally different than we would expect. You didn't
experimented. I was experimenting.
It's you know, I have a tool at home which is like a game, you know, like a tabletop game, where you use physical tool for creating these kind of spins, and you can modify again the angles.
I know those things. I want one, but I don't have one.
The spirograph. Are you referring to the spirograph?
Yeah, I know those, but I want one, but I don't have one.
I found mine at Staples. I bought it's not in a kids store, but I found it in Staples. I'm sure they have it there in a Staples store. Good, because this is very interesting again.
This is good.
I have to apologize to George because I promised him that I would invite him today to create a sprite from us and teach you how to create your own sprites, but it took longer. We didn't get to do it, so hopefully we'll get to start on that next time. And then it will be a full new class because we can go crazy with creative sprites. It's really
Yes, sounds good. And in your students account, make sure you save all the projects, because you will earn a certificate at the end of the course only if you have a project created for every class that we have covered. Okay, something to make it move, spin, change costume, and using the pen tool. So we should be able to see the students project in your account. Only then you will earn the certificate at the end of the course. Is that clear? Okay, so after showing, make sure you don't delete them or don't modify them. You can keep adding more and more projects to your account. Clear? Okay. Yes.
well. Have a nice weekend and see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time. And just before the end of the day today, this video will be uploaded online. So if you have any doubts, you can go to the YouTube channel and refer the recording, and then you can learn more. Is that clear? So make sure you subscribe to Shiva Robotics Academy YouTube channel. So automatically you will get notifications. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Adina. Thank you, students.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.